All right, good morning. I have 9:30. Today's date is August 18th, 2021. I welcome you to the third funding committee meeting for fiscal year 2021. And this is, of course, the Rural VFD Assistance Program. At this time, the first thing I'd like to do is allow the voting members of the Rural Volunteer Fire Department Assistance Program Funding Committee introduce themselves. And I'll start, I guess, to my left over here with Don.
Good morning, Don Galloway, Senior Manager for Fire and Emergency Management Programs. Happy to be here.
All right, very good. Thank you, Don.
Les Rogers, Incident Response Department Head.
Very good.
Emily Wall, I work in the FRP Assistant Director's Office. I am proxying for Mark Stanford today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Wes Moorhead. I am Assistant Director for Forest Resource Protection with Texas A&M Forest Service.
Okay, very good. And I'm, of course, Jason Kenningham. I serve as the Department Head for the Capacity Building Department, and I'll be serving as the presiding officer today for this meeting. In addition, we have quite a few TFS employees attending here today, and I'd like to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. And I believe I'll just start over here, the back left, off camera. We have some members.
Jerry Goodman, I'm Program Leader with the Capacity Building Department out in Lufkin, and do our FFP programs and Helping Hands programs out there. So,
Thanks, Jerry.
Don Hahnemann, Applied Technology Department Head over our GIS folks.
Very good.
Sandra Bomonski, Capacity Building, HB 2604, Training Tuition Grants.
Thank you, Sandy.
Emily Withers, Business Specialist, Capacity Building, also help with
Everything.
Okay. And then tucked away over here to my left in the back.
Good morning, I'm Chris Powell. I'm the Policy and Review Coordinator here at TFS.
And I'm Julie Carr, I'm the Management Review Officer.
Okay, very good. And they join us from our Finance and Administration Department. They're conducting a review of the program to help us improve it and examine and provide opportunities to make sure we're doing a thorough and accurate job with the program. So thank you all for helping us with that. Oh, and let me see, we got Chris over here, off camera. Chris.
Christine Stafford, I'm in the Capacity Building Department.
Okay, very good.
And I'm Dina Nadal. I'm with Capacity Department, HB 2604 and HB 3667 program.
Thank you, Dean.
And I'm Mary Noah with the Program Coordinator for the Capacity Building Department here in College Station. With the grant programs for both House Bill 2604, House Bill 3667, and TIFMAS and FFP supplements.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mary. And we have quite a few external attendees here today. Thank you all for coming from the fire departments and also vendors. Appreciate y'all for showing up today. We appreciate the TFS staff and the committee for taking time out of your busy schedule to help us with this program. First thing I'd like to do is go over some meeting ground rules. This meeting is conducted as a formal TFS business meeting. It is open to the public and visitors are welcome. However, there is no provision for public comment. TFS staff are welcomed and encouraged to comment on any discussion item. The grant approvals made at today's meeting are provisional and are contingent upon passing a final stage audit conducted over the next several business days by our staff here in College Station. Following completion of the final stage audit, grant approval letters will be sent electronically and/or mailed to each grant recipient. The approval letter is our official notification that a grant has been approved. These grants are not official until the final stage audit is complete and the approval letter sent. Purchases made in advance of an award are not eligible for reimbursement through the program. I'd also like to give special recognition to our staff that worked hard leading up to today. Of course, the room is set up nicely. We appreciate the staff for doing that and all the leg work behind the scenes to pull applications, begin review, all the hard work that Mary Noah put into building the funding list and preparing for this today. Thank y'all very much. The next item on the agenda is our review of the minutes for the April 21st, 2021 funding meeting. I provided those in advance. Do we have any discussion regarding those, or questions regarding those minutes? Okay, any questions at all? Okay, can I entertain a motion to approve the minutes as provided?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Les Rogers. Any discussion at all?
Second.
Okay, we have a second from Galloway, Don Galloway. Okay, motion from Les Rogers, a second from Don Galloway. All those in favor of approving the minutes as provided, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Motion carried unanimously. Okay, very good. Moving on to Roman numeral 3 and the agenda special items. The first thing I'm going to cover is the status of field inspections. We were going to have 2 inspections outstanding, but one came in this morning. So the only outstanding inspection relates to an emergency grant relating to Storm Uri. But the department is waiting on a part, so we could not complete the inspection. So that's really just waiting on a part, that department, then we can get that inspection done. So really a really good position with the inspections across the state. And then now I'd like to move over to the status of FY21 FFP slip-on unit grants, and Mary Noack will take that.
Okay. Each of you should have a sheet or sheets in your folder for the FFP slip-on unit awards this fiscal year. This highlights the slip-on unit awards, which is an option available to departments that receive a 5-ton, a deuce and a half, or a truck tractor through our firefighter property program. And this year to date, we have awarded 37 of those, totaling $740,000.
Very good, Mary. Moving on in your agenda to Roman numeral 4, grant funding. Mary will go over a review of the funding revisions and the slippage calculation for this year-end meeting.
Okay. The funding committee members, you will have a form within your folder that looks like a complex spreadsheet titled in its total awards, outstanding awards, closed awards at the top. It will look like this. So this year, as we had a 5% reduction to our annual budget. So with that being factored into our monies available, we then calculate slippage as well. Slippage is a projection of funds that will likely be available due to unused grant funds. Think of perhaps we awarded, could have been tuition, could be for a piece of equipment, to a department, and for some reason that they were not able to fulfill that grant, they weren't able to utilize it, they returned the monies to us unused, or perhaps the class was canceled, they weren't able to send students to it. So we received monies back that we had originally included in our allocations that now become available for other uses. So what the slippage calculation is that we over allocate in anticipation of monies being returned to us throughout the year, and that's what we're calculating here. It's a strategy that we have in place to ensure that we do our best to utilize all of our grant funds that we are insured with. If funds are unavailable to cover this over allocation, funds from the next fiscal year will be used to cover these allocations. So I'll move to the slippage calculations that have been put together for this meeting. Total awards for the fiscal year to date, $13,983,224.17. That is going to be anything that has been awarded and has been reimbursed. Could be ones that are still pending. We've awarded them. We've not yet received the documentation to reimburse the fire departments. Perhaps the class hasn't taken place yet. And then those grants that the fire departments have refused for some reason to return the monies to us. Our outstanding awards, those are gonna be the pending ones that we have not yet reimbursed. And then closed awards, there, which is the third item, are going to be awards that have been totally closed out. Either they've been fully reimbursed, partially reimbursed, or the departments have returned the monies to us. The next category on your sheet in front of you is gonna be our closed awards. So our original award total for these, those are gonna be, again, the awards that are fully closed out as of this date, that are not still pending. As total, the figure there, you will see the $5,762,777.30. From that, I deducted the amounts that we paid that were less than the awards. Perhaps their fire rescue equipment, perhaps their PPE came in for less than what we initially allocated. So I deducted that figure from there. Then we have the refused awards next. That figure has also been subtracted from our original award total, which leaves us an actual paid amount of that $5,309,271.26. That shows us the percent, that calculation that is immediately below that, that's 7.87%, that shows us the percentage of payments that were made that were less than the original award. So it gives us a slippage of about 8% moving into this funding period, or this funding allocation for this meeting today. We move down to about maybe 3/4 of the way down on the sheet. Slippage adjustment. Again, we have our outstanding award balances, $9,929.13, 97 cents. Awards not yet reimbursed. I deduct the truck awards from that because trucks, very rarely do we encounter any slippage on that. They typically do not come in less than anticipated, nor do the awards get refused by departments. So I've reduced that figure by the trucks. I took that 8% slippage factor from above, multiplied that, which gives us an adjustment for this meeting today of about $349,252. So for today's meeting, we had an available balance coming into the meeting of $1,747.29, $29.35. So adding to that slippage of roughly $349,000 gives us that projected balance available for funding today of $2,096,282. And we will, this is again so that we will do our best to try to award all the funds that we are insured with for the fiscal year.
Any questions on the slippage calculation? Very good, Mary. The next bullet under grant funding, we have available funds and funding meeting allocations for this meeting. Mary, you'll cover that as well.
You will see on, everyone should have a copy of this, which is the August meeting funding allocation. The highlighted figure, $2,096,282. That is the figure I just referenced as the result of the slippage calculation added to our available funding. So that is what we have for today's meeting for allocations. You'll see as we go through the proposed awards for the funding committee members and Forest Service members, in your folder for the funding list, you will see the proposed awards are highlighted in purple on that as we move through this.
All right, thank you, Mary. And
You're welcome.
I'll take the next item on the agenda, which before we get into the presenting the proposal of awards, I'll review the approval criteria to just paint the picture so there's visibility on how we get to where we are, where people are on the list, and how we work this program. So I'll start. Applicants for VFD assistance grants are evaluated and assigned a numerical score based upon the TFS Fire Department Assistance Applicant Rating Guide. Funds are allocated geographically by region based upon the number of volunteer fire departments per region. The allocations are Eastern Piney Woods region 23%, Central Interstate region 55%, and Western Range region 22%. Applicants are ranked relative to the region to which their county is assigned. TFS may, in its sole discretion, adjust regional allocations in order to achieve statewide program goals. Applicants are evaluated and approved as follows. All applications will be sorted and subdivided by the region, the category, the type of item being requested, their numeric rating. For applicants that have the same rating number, applicants are further sorted and subdivided by date of application. Applications in each region and similar categories within a region are considered under the following guidelines. Applications within a region are considered beginning with the higher dollar value categories and working downward. To ensure a wide distribution of funding, departments which are approved in one of the higher dollar value categories, such as vehicles, truck chassis, slip-on units, are not considered for additional approvals during the same funding meeting. Applicants may be passed over if they have received $10,000 or more in grant assistance during the previous 12 months. Training tuition and emergency grants are not included as part of this $10,000 prior approval amount. During each funding meeting, a target budget allocation is provided for each region and category, as you've seen Mary go over. These target amounts are used as guides to determine the amount of funding that can be provided within each category for a region. However, funds may be reallocated as needed to match approvals with identifiable breakpoints in the VFD's numeric ratings. If a department has multiple requests in similar categories, such as large chassis and small chassis, approval may be granted for one request, with the department allowed to select its priority. If an applicant has applied for a truck chassis grant and a slip-on unit grant, the slip-on unit grant will automatically be awarded when the chassis grant is approved. And you'll see that occur today. So now I'd like to talk about bonus points. All grant applications are eligible for bonus points based upon the age of the application. Bonus points are added to the applicant's rating number as follows. Beginning 12 months after an application is received, a half a point will be added each month to the applicant's rating number. The maximum rating number any application may have is 120. When we speak about training tuition grants, we don't discuss those today because the Capacity Building Department is authorized to approve applications for training tuition grants continuously throughout the fiscal year. So we approve those on demand, continually. With regard to FFP slip-on unit grants, the Capacity Building Department is authorized to approve applications for FFP slip-on units at the point an FFP 2.5 ton, 5 ton, or truck tractor is offered to an eligible fire department. Applications are approved continually throughout the fiscal year. Federal funds. Each year, TFS applies for and receives federal funds through the U.S. Forest Service. TFS utilizes federal funds for dorm lodging and meal card grants at the Teeks Municipal Fire School. When available, federal funds are also used to extend additional grant awards in the PPE category. In order to be considered for federal funds, applicants must meet all of the following federal requirements. They must serve a rural area or rural community with a population of 10,000 or less. They must provide a valid DUNS number and be identified as having adopted NIMS with the Texas Division of Emergency Management. For a DUNS number to be valid for federal funding, the number must be registered annually on the System of Award Management, SAM.gov. Upon award, grant recipients will receive an A133 certification letter that must be completed and returned for final approval of these federal funds. If you've attended one of our meetings in the past, you may have noticed that the committee makes the bulk of truck awards early in the fiscal year. This is to allow for the build time and to assist with slippage calculations later in the year. Currently, funding meetings are held 3 times per year, one of course near the beginning of the fiscal year, then again in or around March, and lastly near August at the end of the fiscal year. And that concludes my overview of the approval criteria. I think we're ready to move over to the grant proposal. So I'll turn it back over to Mary Noah.
Thank you, Jason. All right. I will begin with the central region. And as Jason stated earlier, that trucks are typically awarded earlier in the funding meetings in the year. So we will not have any truck awards at this meeting. So there is not an allocation for the truck category for the central region. I will start with the slip-on modules and chassis category. The allocation for this meeting today is $242,121. The highest viable rating in this category today is 120, and I propose approvals to a rating of 110. The value of these approvals is $220,000. Beginning on page 12 in your funding list, the first one is a large truck chassis for Salt Creek Rural Volunteer Fire Department in Young County Station for $90,000. Large truck chassis, Washington, Texas, Volunteer Fire Department, $90,000. As both of these departments had slip-on applications on file with us, they automatically received slip-ons. So on page 14 are the slip-ons referenced for Washington Volunteer Fire Department for $20,000 and another for $20,000 for Salt Creek Rural Volunteer Fire Department. The next category is our fire rescue equipment category. That's going to begin on page 17. This category also includes dry hydrants. The allocation for this meeting is $288,239. Highest viable rating in this category is 120, and I propose approvals to a rating of 117.66. The value of these approvals is $298,400. Again, beginning on page 17, I have Volunteer Fire Department of Westhoff, Texas for $14,000. Caussey VFD for $20,000. Sister Dale for $20,000. Central Bell County Fire Rescue, $20,000. Malone VFD, $16,250. Coupland Volunteer Fire Department Inc., $16,220. Woodbury VFD Inc., $6,236. Forestburg VFD for $20,000. Cottonwood Shores VFD, $20,000. Arrowhead Ranch Estates VFD for $17,999. And then flipping to page 18, next is Blue Branch VFD for $20,000. Latcham Wesley Greenvine Volunteer Fire Department, $14,000. Parker VFD, $20,000. Palmview VFD, $16,250. Orange County Emergency Service District Number 1, $20,000. Blue Ridge VFD, $17,570. And Lingleville Volunteer Fire Department for $19,875. Our next category is going to be PPE, which begins on page 24. The allocation for this meeting for Central is $380,475. Highest viable rating in this category is a 120, and I propose approvals to a rating of 102.44. The value of these approvals is $381,736. Okay, so on page 24, Blackjack VFD in Burleson County, $7,633. Then moving to page 25 is Fralesburg VFD for $15,000. Florence VFD, Williamson County ESD number 7, $9,543. Possum Kingdom Lake VF and Ambulance Service, $14,400. Raisin Volunteer Fire Department, $13,500. Gay Mountain Cedar Hill Volunteer Fire Department, $15,000. Santo Volunteer Fire and EMS, $14,715. Sweeney Fire and Rescue, $13,500. York Creek VFD, $15,000. Bellevue VFD, $14,850. Cameron Gardens VFD, $15,000. Lamar VFD, $8,640. Cottondale VFD, $15,000. Manville VFD, $13,500. Hidalgo Fire EMS Department, $15,000. Rio Vista VFD, $15,000. White Bluff on Lake Whitney VFD, $13,500. The Volunteer Fire Department of Jones Creek, $15,000. West Shores Volunteer Fire Department, $15,000. And moving to page 26, Montauk VFD, $15,000. Lake Arrowhead VFD, $15,000. City of Poth VFD, $15,000. Papalote Volunteer Fire Department, $8,955. Levita Volunteer Fire Department, $15,000. Caldwell Fire and Rescue, $15,000. Boonesville Bazora VFD, $15,000. League City Volunteer Fire Department, $15,000. And Garrett Area Rural VFD, $9,000. The next category is the training category. The allocation for today's meeting is $242,121. Highest viable rating in this category is 101.87, and I propose approvals through a rating of 83.02. The value of these proposed approvals is $241,535, and these are going to begin on page 30 in your packet. Jefferson County ESD 4, $10,000. Karnes City VFD, $10,000. Weston Volunteer Fire Department, $10,000. Crafton VFD, $10,000. Magnolia Beach VFD, $6,535. Muldoon VFD, $10,000. Aransas Pass FD, $10,000. Mount Calm Volunteer Fire Department, $10,000. Floresville VFD, Wilson County ESD number 5, $10,000. Bastrop County ESD number 2, $10,000. Whitesboro Fire Department, $10,000. Geronimo Volunteer Fire Department, $10,000. McGargle Volunteer Fire Department, $10,000. And moving to page 31, Nevada VFD, $10,000. Lakeview Volunteer Fire Department, $10,000. Elsa VFD, $10,000. Jackson County ESD number 3, Edna VFD, $10,000. The Seal Round Prairie VFD, $10,000. Panitas Volunteer Fire Department, $8,000. Arath County Volunteer Fire Department, $10,000. Branch Volunteer Fire Department, $7,000. Hankomer Volunteer Fire Department, $10,000. Rendon VFD, $10,000. Era VFD, $10,000. And Bay City VFD, $10,000. And that concludes all of our categories for the Central Region. I will begin with the Eastern Piney Woods region. Again, there are not any allocations this meeting for trucks for Eastern Piney Woods. So we will begin on page 38. First category is the slip-on module and chassis category. For today's meeting, we have an allocation of $1,250. Our highest viable rating in this category is 110.77, and I propose approvals through a rating of 108.50. The value of these approvals is $180,000. So again, on page 38, Edgewood VFD, $90,000. Diana Volunteer Fire Department, $50,000 for a small truck chassis. I'm sorry, Edgewood was a large truck chassis. Now, both of these departments also had slip-on unit applications, so they are automatically awarded those slip-ons. So on page 39, Edgewood VFD has the slip-on for $20,000. And on page, same page, 39, Diana Volunteer, Fire Department also has their slip-on for $20,000. Okay. The next category is fire rescue equipment, which includes dry hydrants. The allocation for this meeting is $120,536. Highest viable rating in this category is a 120. And I propose approval to a rating of 117.26. The value of these approvals is $125,900. Now we'll begin on page 41. Perryville VFD, $20,000. Kirbyville VFD, $18,500. North 19 Fire Rescue, $12,500. Sabine Volunteer Fire Department, $20,000. Bear Creek VFD, $20,000. Cudhand Community VFD, $14,900. Crims Chapel VFD, $20,000. And that wraps up fire rescue category. The next category is going to be our PPE category, beginning on page 45. The allocation for this meeting is $159,108. The highest viable rating in this category is a 114.34. I propose approvals through a rating of 103.90. And the value of those approvals is $160,710. Okay. First one, Jenkins Volunteer Fire Department for $5,199. Center Hill Volunteer Fire Department for $15,000. Red Springs VFD for $15,000. Scenic Loop VFD for $15,000. Jefferson VFD for $15,000. Log Cabin Volunteer Fire Department for $15,000. Roxton VFD for $13,500. Trinity VFD for $13,761. Lake Nacogdoches Area Volunteer Fire Department, $13,500. Groveton Fire Department Association, $11,250. West Harrison VFD, $13,500. And Woodville Volunteer Fire Department for $15,000. Our next category is the training category, beginning on page 47. The allocation for this meeting was $101,250. Highest viable rating in this category was a 95, and I propose approvals through a rating of 95. That is on page 47, Shepherd VFD for $10,000. And that concludes the proposals for the Eastern Piney Woods region. I will move now to the Western Range, beginning on page 52. Again, there are no trucks at this meeting, so I do not have any allocations for trucks. I will start with slip-on module and chassis category. For today's meeting, we have an allocation of $96,848. Highest viable rating in this category is a 118.23, and I propose approvals through a rating of 118.23. The value of these approvals is $110,000. Okay. The large truck chassis for Howard County Volunteer Fire Department, the amount of $90,000. Howard County also had a slip-on application, so they are automatically awarded that. That slip-on is on page 53 in the amount of $20,000. Our next category is the fire rescue equipment category, including dry hydrants. The allocation for this meeting is $115,296. Our highest viable rating in this category is a 120. And I propose approval to a rating of 108.58. The value of these approvals is $114,500. I will begin on page 55. Rural Volunteer Fire Department, $20,000. Christine Volunteer Fire Department, $20,000. New Deal Volunteer Fire Department, $20,000. O'Donnell Volunteer Fire Department, $15,000. Charlotte Volunteer Fire Department, $19,500. Childress Fire Department, $20,000. The next category is our PPE category. Allocation is $152,190. Our highest viable rating in this category is a 120, and I propose approvals to a rating of 99.50. The value of these approvals is $152,228. Okay, so I will begin on page 56. Reagan County Fire and EMS, $15,000. I will then move to page 57. Crest Volunteer Fire Department, $15,000. Post VFD, $6,750. Quanta VFD, $15,000. Wall Volunteer Fire Department, $15,000. Claude VFD, $15,000. Lorraine Volunteer Fire Department, $13,500. Seymour VFD, $15,000. Potter County Fire Rescue, $15,000. Pecan Creek Volunteer Fire Department, $13,500. And Morrow VFFA for $13,478. Next category is going to be training. That begins on page 58. The allocation for this meeting is $96,848. The highest viable rating in this category is 105.71. And I propose approvals to a rating of 83.32. The value of these approvals is $100,500. Okay. Wingate Volunteer Fire Department, $10,000. Ben Bolt Volunteer Fire Department, $10,000. Kermit VFD, $10,000. Dalhart VFD, $10,000. Channing VFD and the EMS, $10,000. Pisano Fire Department, $500. White Deer Volunteer Fire Department, $10,000. Lorenzo Volunteer Fire Department, $10,000. Wolforth Fire EMS, $10,000. West Carlisle Volunteer Fire Department, $10,000. And Meadow VFD, $10,000. And that concludes all of the proposed awards for today. That is a total of 128 awards proposed for funding.
Okay, thank you, Mary. So committee, I ask if you have any questions or comments regarding the proposal of awards as presented. And hearing none, can I entertain a motion to approve the proposal of awards as presented? Okay.
Move.
We have a motion by Don Galloway. Any discussion? Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Wes. Okay, we have a motion by Don Galloway, a second by Wes Moorhead to approve the proposal of awards as presented today. I'll solicit a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. Let the minutes show. Okay. And as a reminder, grant approvals made at today's meeting are provisional and are contingent upon passing a final stage audit conducted over the next several business days by our team here in College Station. Upon final approval, grant award letters will be sent electronically and or mailed to each grant recipient. The approval letter is our official notification that a grant has been approved. These grants are not official until the approval letters are sent. If you are attending here today with your department or watching the video online, if you did not hear your name come up, We encourage you to look at our other programs such as the Helping Hands program or the Firefighter Property program. You can learn more about those by visiting texasfdfrankdavid.com or contacting your local regional fire coordinator. And moving forward in the agenda, we have the date of the next funding meeting. I've tentatively penciled in October 13th, 2021 for now. Does anybody have any major objections at this time? We can review that later to make sure that it's going to work for the majority. Okay, very good. So that concludes the reason why we're here today, to make awards and assist fire departments in building their capacity. But we have, so that was the serious part of the meeting. And while I'm still serious, we have something notable to mention here today in other business. It's a point of special recognition. When this meeting is officially over, we will have a funding committee member, Don Galloway, who will have attended his very last funding meeting due to retirement at the end of this month with 33 years of service. He is not just a committee member, he is a charter member, meaning he has been here since program inception and has attended almost every single funding meeting for the past 20 years. That's no small accomplishment. So let's talk about it. And I'm presiding over the meeting, so I guess I can't be stopped. If I could take you back in time for a moment to the inception of this program. The year was 2001, and at that time the state legislature was meeting during the 77th regular session. A House bill was filed by Representative Swinford out of the Panhandle of Texas with the intent of providing assistance to certain volunteer fire departments. It was identified as House Bill 2604, and as you know, that number has lived on as an unofficial name for the program, as we refer to it as the 2604 program. The bill would progress through the entire legislative process and ultimately would be signed by then Governor Rick Perry on June 15, 2001. At that time, and well before, Don Galloway was on staff and had extensive experience working with rural VFDs throughout Texas through many of our other assistance programs. Therefore, when the program was conceptualized, he was instrumental in not only educating elected officials to the needs of the fire service, but also in collaborating with stakeholders to develop and design this program. He understands every aspect of the program, from the founding legislation, its original intent, the associated rules that are filed with the Texas Register, the funding accounts at the state level, the rating system, the allocation and award strategy, all the way to the slippage calculation used at year end and was utilized today. Through his experience and knowledge, he established himself as the most trusted sounding board for any program question or prospective modification. So for the past 20 years, 2 months, and 3 days, he has guided this program in the award of $40,197 awards for over $300 million. Okay? That's 2,010 fire trucks. All right. 11,612 awards for fire rescue, PPE, dry hydrants, training aids, slip-on units, all the above. We had training tuition grants so far of 25,925 applications that sent 91,272 students to school, okay, along with numerous emergency grants through the years. What an awesome accomplishment. That's a lot. 2,010 fire.
Thank you, Jason, that was,
I'm not finished.
oh, well,
Okay, as you can tell, Don has been committed to our agency's mission to build capacity in the fire service. Okay, I do not believe there is one person in our agency who has worked harder than Don in service to our fire department cooperators. At this moment, somewhere, there are firefighters responding to an emergency scene who are better prepared because of his efforts. So Don, I say to you on behalf of our team, this committee, that we hope that you take pride in knowing that you helped your fellow man and woman while in service to this state. It's a legacy that will live on for the rest of your life. Your service is greatly appreciated by our team and by the fire departments in Texas. And we wish you the very best in the next chapter of your life.
And I thank you, sir. And I tell you, I was sitting here going through this and going, you know, this is my last month to spend millions of dollars. But I can still remember the first grant meeting and the first series and set, and this particularly has always been a program, a part of this agency that was very, very easy to enjoy, because there is a lot of joy in being able to go through here and put money out there over fire departments. I mean, and you know, anyway, never stopped enjoying that. So, and anyway, yeah, and I was around when all of this junk was made, so if there's anything you're unhappy with, it is my fault.
Committee members, do you have anything? Final comments?
I'll make one on Don. So I'm fairly new to this, as y'all know, and watching Don, he was really nice. This one, he didn't make any comments. He just let it roll. But I was impressed. The last one is if Mary misstepped, if she said something wrong, if there was a wrong item, he highlighted it. I mean, he was following line by line. Nothing passes this gentleman. So Don, thank you for 20-something years shepherding this program. To the last meeting, you followed it and made sure everything was dotted and crossed. So I appreciate that.
Well, and actually, since you said that, I wasn't going to do this, but I'm good.
No, thanks.
So, no, you're good. Just as an
What are the
observation.
department names?
No.
I really tried.
As an observation, this is going to involve a fair amount of rambling, which most of my stuff does, but some of the folks in this room may or may not be interested in this. Just bear with me for a second. I did have one observation I was going to point out to Les afterwards as an opportunity, but there are other folks in this room, maybe. Anyway, I'm just going to do this anyway. One of my observations is going through our list, just as an example, and this is just, I apologize, but it's one of the things you learn to see just dealing with this for a long time. So, as an example, if you look on, let me find my spot. I lost that one, but anyway, we had a request on here, and I thought I highlighted it, but I did the next one. We had a request on here where the department had requested a relatively small amount, and it was a
$500 one?
yeah, well, something along those lines. I'll show you another example. If you look on page 18, about halfway down the page, you got Elk Volunteer Fire Department. And this was a 2013 request for like $975. And there are a few of those scattered through here. And my impression usually is the department's chief had an item wanted, they submitted, somebody sent something in and let it ride. Now, and it kind of will catch your eye because the original request was for $900, and right now our approval dollar amount listed, although this one didn't get funded this meeting, is $5,000. And that's where we had to change to the dollar amount that we award. The actual maximum amount for the grant went up. So what we did was we went ahead and applied it to that, which is good, because if we're going to call the department down the road and say, hey, we got an award and so forth, I'd much rather that they've forgotten about it. I'd much rather call them and tell them they got $5,000 some dollars than $900. So now, from our standpoint, typically, well, I'll say this now, just observation. But if Elk Volunteer Fire Department were to call and say, hey, I noticed we have an old award on thing and times have changed, we would like to update that. Our standard practice would be to let them make a change to that award so it holds its place in line. Correct? Mm-hmm. So from our standpoint now, we don't necessarily do that because we've got 200 million in requests we can't fund now. And it's really kind of relies on that part. But just as an observation, to me, that would be a case where, you know, I'm just gonna say, I would think if anyone, RFC or pretty much anyone were to touch base with that department and mention, they might wanna update that because it might wind up funded soon. They might, you know, help that department, maybe generate a little goodwill or so forth. And there are other opportunities in here. Another one would be just, you know, on page 31, if you look, there's about the fifth one, sixth one down is Malone, VFD in Hill County has a little $400 request, and that one's still listed at $400. Now that one didn't get awarded because they have another award, so that'll take a year or so before that comes to. But just, you know, again, we deal with the macro and a lot of large scope, and we try to do the best we can, but I would hope that there would be some folks out there that might be interested in looking for some of these opportunities to impact some of these departments that might miss something otherwise. And I don't just say there might be some opportunities there within our agency, or like I said, I would think pretty much anyone that would contact the department and help them might generate some goodwill.
Okay, no, that's a very good observation, Don. And, you know, our team can definitely speak to that when in conversation on the phone, reference it in emails, and chase that
Well,
down to
and-
make sure they're maximizing the opportunity when the grant
Well,
does
and
come
like I
through.
said, I'm not trying to in any way ping the grant staff, because like I said, we've got millions they're chasing, and then like I said, we've got 200 million in outstanding requests. But I would just say that for an observant person, there might be some opportunities there, whoever that may be. And then I'll stop complicating it.
No, it's very good.
This is,
We do have.
this is why they're not gonna miss me as much as they say they might. So,
No, that's very good observation, and we have a pretty simple revision process. You know, we have a revision form, and so if by chance you're sitting here today in the audience, or you're watching us on the web, and you see that maybe there's an opportunity to increase your requested amount, please do so. Reach out to us. We'll make that happen for you real easily. And
well, and like I said, what like I said, I'm not staff, you know, RFC might be, but
right.
quite honestly, if there was a neighboring department or even perhaps a vendor that would, they might.
Exactly.
Just saying.
And so, all right, very good, Donna. Thank you again for your service.
Looks like Don's done.
The last thing I have, again, I'll tell you what, one more round of applause for Don. That's 20 years. Thank y'all for taking time out of your day for that portion of the meeting. The last thing I have is just a statement of appreciation. Of course, at this time, we have over 240 million in outstanding requests, so that does, you know, create some complexity and difficulty in reaching every request in a timely manner, but we're doing so as best we can with the available funds that the agency has. If we could fund all of them this very minute, we would definitely do so. We are thankful that the program has been retained by the legislature, and we hope that it is remains operational into the unforeseeable future. VFDs are the front line of defense across the state. Without fire departments, this program would not exist, and we know why we are here. We would do everything possible to help fire departments be successful. It is our honor to manage this program to the benefit of the fire service. So I'll go ahead and call this meeting adjourned. Thank you for joining us today. It's 10:24. Thanks again.
Thanks, Jason.